Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento, and I am so excited for today's episode because we are joined by an incredible entrepreneur that I know that you are all going to absolutely love and admire his own entrepreneurial journey, and you're really going to love how he's leveraged his professional career to launch a very successful business with what I'm going to argue is the best URL I've ever seen an entrepreneur have in his business. So let me introduce you to today's guest. His name is Charlie Klarskov. Charlie is originally from Denmark, and he came to the United States when he was just 19 years old. He went to UCLA, and while finishing studies, he was a paperboy at a local financial advisory firm in Beverly Hills. He later on got sponsored on a work visa and worked as a financial advisor for a couple of years before parting ways to start on his own. Today, fast forward, this is such an incredible story. He has 29 people on his team, all working remote, and they promote educational events to educate the local communities on retirement planning so people can get the most out of their hard-earned money. I'm so excited to geek out about all the incredible things that Charlie and his team have built and all the people that they've served. So I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Charlie Klarskov. All right, Charlie, I am so very excited that you're here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Heck yes. I tease listeners with just a little bit of your backstory, but I'm so excited to hear your story firsthand today. So let's start with you. Take us beyond the bio. Who's Charlie? How'd you start doing all these cool things?
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a good question. Yeah, who is Charlie? Well, born and raised on a pig farm in Denmark, actually, in Scandinavia. My stepdad had 5,000 pigs, so grew up there. And first trip to America, I was 14 years old, actually to California here where I am right now. And true story. It might sound a little cheesy, but I was walking down Rodeo Drive, palm trees, blue skies, and just felt the energy of America too. And I was just like, wow, I want to come back here one day and I want to work in finance. I want to work in Beverly Hills. And then fast forward, I think 7 or 8 years later, early 20s, I'm standing, as you mentioned there, after my studies at UCLA. I was working as a paperboy, and then I got sponsored a visa at this financial firm in Beverly Hills, and that's sort of where my journey started in that industry. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And especially as the son of an immigrant mom myself, I've seen firsthand how that American spirit, that hustle, that commotion, that bustle, it's such an inspiring atmosphere to be around. And similar to you and I have LA in common in the fact that when you and I both landed there, we were thinking, I'm going to live here one day. I need to come back here and I need to make some magic happen. There's something in the air there. And I find it particularly fascinating in your story, seeing Rodeo Drive, standing in Beverly Hills, working within the financial advisory industry. It probably inspired you in so many different ways. But Charlie, I'm going to give you huge public praise here because it was never enough for you to simply be an employee. You had that entrepreneurial DNA inside of you. What did that look like? When did you first notice that calling, and when did you allow yourself to step into that calling of starting your own business?
Yeah, it might sound cliche, but I actually always felt since I was a kid, something inside me was like, well, I really want to be self-employed. I want to do something big, something great. Not because I feel better than other people, just because I felt it was my call. It was the way that I was supposed to go. It was the way that was comfortable for me. So it was great to work as financial advisor for a couple of years. It was not even as an employee, actually. It was just like under the umbrella. It was commission paid only. So it's sort of partly like self-employed too. Like you have to definitely generate your own business coming in. It's just very natural to me, like having everything in control, or not control, like having all the opportunities in your own hands, and also being able to freely do what I would like to do, chase the directions I want to do, chase the opportunities. So it's always felt very natural to me going that way. And I'll just say that it's definitely not for everyone. It's a lifestyle, I would say, being an entrepreneur and self-employed. But if it's your call, I mean, I think it's one of the greatest things in life. I mean, the freedom that comes with it as well is just, I don't know, it makes me very happy, that's for sure.
Yeah, so well said. You're definitely preaching to the choir here today in front of a global audience of entrepreneurs. And I'm going to put you on the spot here to introduce listeners to your business, because you heard me tease at the very top of today's episode. I'm convinced you have got the best domain in any industry. Yours is workshopsforretirement.com. Charlie, I'm just going to keep saying that domain because I'm still amazed that you got your hands on it. But introduce us to your business and what you all get into.
Sure. So we promote educational workshops, as the name suggests, and dinner events on financial literacy for people who are either retired or contemplating soon. Or in other words, we are helping the baby boomer generation, so those who are age 55 and older, get all their retirement planning in place here in the U.S. So taking care of Social Security, taxes, Medicare, estate planning, all of those questions that they may have come up. So we sort of facilitate these educational events for people in the local communities around the U.S. I think we're in 45 different states now, and they're free to attend for the general public as well. So, and it's interesting with the name, too. I thought about when I was starting my business, I'm like, well, what should I call it? Some people have a fancy name, some people have like another name, but I'm like, why not just call it something that's descriptive of what it is? So that's what I went with.
Yeah, I love that. And talk to us about that model, because being in 45 states, obviously you are in an incredible position. You've got such a talented global team at this point. What do those back-end operations look like? And then anytime people hear, they're free to attend, everyone always says, what's the business model behind it? Charlie, I know that you love business, so give us a sneak peek behind the scenes of what the logistics look like and what that model looks like.
Sure, yes. So there's a presenter fee. So the actual events are presented by local professionals, so local financial advisors, CFP backgrounds, 65 certifications and stuff like that. So people who know the local community very well and are interested in helping people in the local areas. So they are actually presenting these events, and we sort of facilitate them or like promote them online. And then the local speakers are paying us a presenter fee to be the host there. So that's how that works. And operations behind. I mean, it's a 100% virtual firm. We do have a physical office located in Texas. We have a few people working there as well, but most are working, all are working remote, all around the place in all different kinds of states here. And it's very interesting too, because it's in some way a little bit abstract too. 100% virtual team and virtual operations, but I think if you manage it right and handle both people, team, operations the right way, it gives you an incredible amount of freedom as well. And from a scalability, a lot of advantage there as well.
Yeah, hearing the way you articulate that, Charlie, it's fun hearing you with your CEO's hat on, because what I'm hearing is that there's so many different sides to your business. You talk about promoting events. Obviously, marketing is a key value add that your company has mastered. There's the people management side of it, which all of us, as we grow in our businesses as founders, we need to embrace the people management side of it. There's the operational side of it. I know that you lean a lot on AI and technology. You view this as, hey, this is our leg up to make this happen at scale. So knowing that you wear all of those hats on a weekly basis, what does that look like for you to divert your time, to invest your time, to focus your time? I'd love to hear those insights.
Yeah, that's a good question, because being rooted in having roots from Denmark, Scandinavia, I still go there 3-4 times a year. So then there's time difference as well. Obviously, we're going back and forth, and I travel a lot here in the U.S. as well, seeing clients. So there's definitely a muscle to train and develop in terms of how to manage your time wisely, how to be productive when you travel too. Also, if you want to still obviously have a private personal life too, and train and work out and see friends, etc. Definitely muscle. Took me a couple of years to get into that, or probably longer. That's not true. It probably took me like 3 or 4 years actually before I was really like feeling now I've got a good rhythm of how to do this when I travel, etc. I think the key, you mentioned the effectiveness in operations as well. One of the things I think we've done very well the last year and a half here is really adopting AI and the opportunities, not only AI, but just looking at all the opportunities that exist out there. I mean, you can very easily connect systems today via API connections, which is basically how I like to see things. I like to simplify things. It's just a plug. It's just a cable from one system to another. That's what an API connection is. And you can connect so many things today, whether it's payment softwares into websites, into portals, that it's cost-wise, it's reasonable, and it's easy as well. And sorry, I'm getting a little off track here with my thoughts. But so going back to the operations as well, I think what we have done well to keep up with that is to really utilize AI and make sure that all processes in the business here, everything that can be automated and optimized, we jumped into that and automated that, so that not necessarily so I can have less people, but so that we can keep growing and have a higher volume with the same amount of people.
Yeah, I love that point. That's actually a point that we've been emphasizing in so many conversations in the past few months, especially here on the show, is that automation and AI is not to replace people. It is actually to really make us even more effective as people. And Charlie, I don't know what it's been like behind your business, but as AI has gotten more powerful, we've been hiring more because now we have so much more capacity. And I think that that's really cool. Talk to us about that scale, because it's something that I admire so much about your business. And I think that a lot of people aspire to get to scale, but there are operations, there are bottlenecks, there's so much that it takes to get to that scale. There's the human capital component. When you think about scale, and you obviously are operating in so many different places across the United States, what's your view on that? Has it always been kind of, you do want to achieve that sort of volume, that you always do want to be operating in 45 states at this point? What's been your attitude towards that? What was the inflection point to unlock that, and how's that become possible for you?
Yeah, good question. It's definitely a goal to move forward and be the biggest player in the industry. I would say, like, to be quite honest, like earlier on in the starting years, money was definitely driving me, and just the fact of like, hey, I just want to be the biggest and the best in the industry was driving me. But then during COVID, things were sort of like thrown up in the air, and we went through a very rough time there as well financially, obviously because, the whole world was shut down. So my attitude towards money changed significantly, being much more humble and appreciative of what I had. So today I just find so I used to play with Legos when I was a kid. I actually still do, and sometimes you have these technique things you have to build, which is very it's stimulating. But it's a little bit like, it's fun playing with Legos, taking different things, putting them together, and you can build whatever you want pretty much. I feel the same way with my business. I'm definitely stimulated. I find it gratifying and fun to just build it, like optimizing, build a nice team, having good energy, see how much you can push the envelope. I mean, how great customer service can you get? How much good feedback can you get? So definitely my goal is absolutely to be the biggest player in the industry, and just keep delivering first-class service with an optimized, well-lubricated machine. And to that point, Brian, on the machine and AI, etc., and human capital, etc., AI is an interesting conversation, and it's sometimes hard, like when we don't fully understand it. I'm not sure even people working with it fully understand it yet, and capabilities of it. But I like it to a perspective where it automates things and can make your life easier. And the way I look at it is, hey, if I can implement AI and more technology in my firm, we can reduce the amount of stress, not only for me, but for my employees too. And I'm under the perspective that I'm happy to pay my employees the same amount of money for less hours if they bring in the same value. Because I always felt the same way for myself. If I can bring in X value in half the time than my other peers, why wouldn't I be paid the same? So I tell them that too. Hey, let's embrace technology and AI so that there's less stress on the team. You guys bring in the same value. I'm happy to pay you the same, but let's have technology lift the bigger burden of where we can.
Yeah, Charlie, I really appreciate the Legos example. I want to go deeper there because you use that term of pushing the envelope. And what I really hear as someone who's been an entrepreneur for as long as I have, and I get to interview amazing entrepreneurs, I hear so consistently with successful entrepreneurs and founders that attitude of experimentation, that attitude of being willing to break things. And Charlie, a lot of people are going to tune into today's episode and see your standing in your industry, as you guys are leaders who do push that envelope in your industry. But I'd I'd love for you to share transparently some of those experiments that you have tried recently, some of the things that you are open to breaking, some of the things that you are open to saying, hey, I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. Maybe it will work and we'll keep it. Maybe it won't work and we'll throw it out. What are some examples of that experimentation that you as the founder love to just tinker with?
Sure. Yeah, and I'll be happy to share a couple of examples there. So it's interesting because we are in a service industry, right? We're servicing people at these workshops and our, the presenters as well, financial advisors. So it's very much about customer service, and we have a lot of customizations for each individual workshop physical event we do. They're usually small adjustments of like, hey, we have to put this on as a request from the local library where we host it, or something from the presenter. So there's a lot of customization. So from the get-go, you're like, well, how can you automate and process that's customized? So from the very get-go with my business, I started looking at things a little bit like, and I think this is great, like a McDonald's process, right? At McDonald's, like you get in, and then first you get trained to maybe wash salad, then you do burgers, then you stand at you do something else. Everything is processed, and it's described how to do things. In that way, you can ensure that things are done for the most part in a consistent way, in a similar way. And you have the same output. And that's one of the things I guess McDonald's is doing great. I mean, the burger, for the most part, it tastes the same regardless of where in the world you are. So I sort of took that approach into my business too, and then divided each sort of process into steps. How can we automate this process still with the ability to customize it? So let me give you an example. So setting up an event for an advisor usually took like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get everything set up on the website, set automations up in terms of automatic text and email reminders that we send out for people who register. But then we made some integrations with the systems that we use. So now that process actually takes less than 2 minutes once it's plugged into the system and QA'd. So it went from 1.5 to 2 hours to less than 2 minutes. And I think that's a game changer. And we're doing this another thing too on the advertising part too.
That's so cool. Talk to us about that advertising side, because that is part of formula, I will say, which is a formula probably both art and science that you all have mastered in hosting so many of these events and helping local leaders also host these events. Charlie, what does that look like? And obviously don't spoil all the secrets of that, but I know a lot of listeners are always asking, what are the right channels? What are the right marketing mediums? What are all of those things? I'm sure you've played with so many of those. What are some of those insights and lessons you've learned?
Yeah, it's a good question, and back to your point of like being experimental, I think that's the key to anything, because we deal with advertising and marketing, and again, I can only talk to what I experienced, but I look around it, and I've been working with very acknowledged and high-end ad agencies around the world, to like hoping that they got the golden nugget to bring down our advertising costs, because that's one of our biggest expenses. But quite honestly, no one really knows. What I found is that the only way to find out is just trial and error. Test it out. Experimental, to your point. Just test things out. Don't be afraid of like testing things out, and don't go with what you personally think is aesthetically good or what you think is good, because you don't know. Let data speak for itself. So test it out. The beautiful thing about an online business is like you can split test things. It's the best thing in life. You can split test 2 scenarios. I wish you could split test life too. That would be interesting. So we do that a lot on the platforms that we use, which are primarily Meta, Google, YouTube. We do Pinterest sometimes as well in certain areas, but those platforms are the ones we use, and we experiment with that. And there's obviously a lot of manual work too going into setting ads up for each event on those platforms, but we're very close to actually implementing next step of our sort of backbone IT system here, which will automate that process too. So once that's done, it will take 2 to 3 minutes, and then all ads are set up on those websites too, because they have API integrations. Again, API, I mean, that's I just love that. That's great. It's yeah.
Charlie, I feel like you just spoiled one of the biggest secrets in the world of business, and that is it's all experimentation. You outright called it out, and I want to emphasize this and echo this for listeners, is the fact that even the world's best ad agency, if they walked into either of our businesses today, their first 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 campaigns are going to flop for us because the entire point of those campaigns is to get that data back. And so many of us in our own businesses, when we do start running marketing, when we do start running ad campaigns, is we expect there's a right answer, but the fact that feel like what you just revealed, there are no right answers in business, and it's such an important takeaway. I'm so grateful for you sharing that with us. I want to go back to something you brought up, COVID in 2020, and so many businesses changed in 2020. Your business, I would imagine, had big questions to answer because you bring people together. You have retirement workshops all across the United States in person, which I think is something so magical about someone with your business mind that is so tech savvy, that is so digital leaning of that's where you're going to get your advantage. Ultimately, your business brings people together in the real world, which is a dying art that I hope we're coming back to. Charlie, where have you kicked around that debate of, hey, should we lean more heavily on online events? Do we want to just fully commit to the in-person side of things? How did 2020 shake that up, and where do you settle on that debate today?
Yeah, COVID was definitely throwing everything in the air and shaking us all in many different ways, and some good, some bad, but I think overall it was a good learning. And yes, to your point, I mean, we did in-person events before, and during COVID, everything shut down. There was a few states here where we could do some in-person events, but not performing well due to restrictions, and people were afraid of it, obviously. But yes, we've definitely been thinking about, merging into more digital and webinars and stuff. And we did that during COVID too. But I think it comes back to what we just talked about. Instead of trying to push as entrepreneurs or self-employed or whoever we are, pushing our beliefs, limiting beliefs into the box of business and the world, just got to listen to the market, because we tested it out too. And just turns out here in the US that, yes, webinar works, and a lot of people do webinars, but the vast majority of retirement planning events are in person. And there's a reason for that, because that's what people apparently prefer to go to, like a workshop or a dinner event or lunch and learn, stuff like that. So yes, to your point, we definitely been thinking about it, and I think the world is moving that direction too, and also with that demographic here in the US. But it's a slow progress, and I think the most important thing is just to listen to the market, like not enforcing your own thoughts or beliefs, pushing that into the world, but just see what works. Instead, I really think that's been the key, because back to the advertising part, I mean, we spend a lot of money on these platforms for promoting, so we get assigned like different account managers, and they all have like data analysis of A and B and C and suggest this and that, and we test it. I'm always open to test, but end of the day, it's just, do your own tests and keep optimizing, and you can easily get lost in the world today, and especially with all the noise of people like coaching, knowing what to do here. If you want to start doing business, do X, or like advertising, you should do B. And like, it all depends on the market, depends on who you are, depends on what you want to do. But be very open-minded and see what works and go with that. That's if I'd done that from the get-go, I'd say it saved a lot of money and saved some time as well.
Yeah, so well said. It's something that I always share with people. My first business was a soccer blog all the way back in 2008, and we grew that to 3.5 million visitors a month. I had a team of 20 working for me, and when people ask me, how do I start a profitable blog? Charlie, I always very openly share with them, I can tell you exactly what I did. I can give you the day-by-day, step-by-step playbook, but unfortunately, it's not going to work anymore. It's going to be different for every single one of us. It is that magical combination of that exact moment in time with the exact circumstances that's never going to be replicated. So it's a never-ending series of experiments, and I'm grateful for you sharing that message with us today. I want to put you on the spot. I've never done this with a fellow entrepreneur in the air, but I feel like it's probably such a cool story that you have, because Charlie, the first time you hosted one of these workshops, or you decided, hey, this is the business that I want to have, it must have been so nerve-wracking, and there must have been so many questions of, well, okay, how many people can I get to sign up for this? But then also, even when you get people to sign up, you need them to show up. What did that first event look like? Because a lot of people are going to see your end result, but take us all the way back to those humble beginnings.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting story too. Because back when I started, I had no money at all. I was living at my friend's parents' house, actually. His older sister had left, so I stayed in her room. And short credit like to America. I met a lot of beautiful people here, and a lot of people opened their homes and their hearts for me here. So I'm very thankful for that. But I'm stayed there with them for free while starting my business. And sitting there working on my brand. What should I call it? How does this even work? How to get people to register? How do I place my ads? I started my first ads on Facebook back then. It was a magical time when, number one, I got my first registrant. Someone random saw an ad, clicked on it, went to my website, and registered. That was magical. And then to your next point, obviously, how to get them to show up. Because we all register for things and then we forget. So people have to, like, in a friendly way, be reminded. So back then I was manually sending out emails as reminders. And I had no integrations into any nice, smart text messaging systems or anything. So I was using my personal phone number to send them text reminders. Hey, short reminder about your event tomorrow, this and that. And I do remember the feeling of the first event we had in Culver City here in LA. And I think we had around 30 people showing up. And I was just like, wow, this is magic. How can you place a graphic, like image, some copywriting, some text on an online platform, and then have people physically show up at a certain date, certain time, interested in a certain topic? I thought that was... that was just, I'm lacking words of it. It was very interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible that many times it strikes me about the fact that even people listening to you and I have this conversation right now, they are giving us their time, and that is the most precious gift that anybody can give us. And you're right, the fact that I always think about how frequently, Charlie, you and I are the lucky ones because we literally work on a computer and it moves people to take action in the real world. Like, that is so incredible to me, and it's never lost on me. So super grateful for that. I want to squeeze 2 quick questions in because I knew that time would fly by with you, but I'm so curious personally, from founder to founder. I'm always so intrigued to hear how you're personally leveraging, both in your business and then of course in life. What are some of the interesting ways that you're leveraging AI? Because it is unlocking new capabilities. It's never been more possible than it is today. To whatever we can dream up, we can actually make happen in the real world today. So Charlie, what are some of those interesting ways that you're using AI?
Yeah, now that's interesting. I'm actually, as much as I embrace it for my business, personally, I'm a little bit hesitant to use it too much, just because I noticed when the whole GPS on our phones came up, people, including myself, we don't really know how to navigate anymore. Everyone uses a GPS, so I like to use it with a little care. So I use it to get different perspectives on things, or double check things for me usually. So it could be in a situation of thinking about something or wanted to look into something. I usually do my own thoughts, reflect on it, and I think this and that. And then when I sort of have jot that down in my mind, then I check what would Chat GPT say about this, or what would an other AI model say about this. So I use it as a backup or second opinion on things, and I would sort of encourage others to do that as well, because we as humans are humans because we can do human things and we can think independently, we can do stuff. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people are using it in the wrong way, doing shortcuts. I think you should keep training your brain, especially for emails, for example. I take great pride in being able to draft a good email with the right energy, with the right attitude. That's what creates great customer service via email, a virtual service. I want to keep that skill inside me and keep it strong and keep it sharp. So I actually, I said I rarely use it for things like that, but I use it as a second opinion sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. That's also what I do. And sometimes I'll even bounce, if ChatGPT tells me something, I'll copy and paste it into Gemini and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'll see the AI models debate amongst themselves. Then I, as a human, I will make my own mind up from there. So I think it's really important that we always maintain that. And I love the fact that you're very intentional about the lines that you won't cross of, hey, we want that human touch in these parts of my business. So huge kudos to the way that you're operating. Charlie, I'm only going to put you on the spot one last time here today. It's the question I ask at the end of every every episode, and that is, what's your best piece of advice for listeners? Knowing that we're being listened to by both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys, and knowing that you are very much one of us, you're a fellow entrepreneur, what's that one thing that you want to leave them with today?
Oh, yeah. Great question. It'd be something related to like just, go with your gut feeling. I'm only 33 years old, but I just found that the times I didn't listen to my gut feeling, I went down a bad road. So I heard this quote in the movie somewhere, and the quote probably comes from somewhere else, but don't worry about what other people are thinking. Let them worry about that. Go with your own flow. Don't be stupid. Don't be an idiot about things. Be realistic about your life, your resources, and what can be done within reasonable time. But with that said, don't let news, anyone else, family, friends, or whatever, take you on a detour, because they are not you. And if you are on the track to be an entrepreneur, self-employed, already are, you did something that most other people dream of. So you do something right. So trust yourself more and fuel your own energy more. Do more of the good stuff.
Yes. Oh, so well said. I love that piece of advice for our listeners. I think all of us need to hear that, not just once, but over and over again. So, Charlie, you've dropped so many nuggets of knowledge on us and with us here today. I'm so grateful for that. I'm also very excited for listeners to see your work in action, because success always leaves clues. And as someone who, my parents are at that retirement age, and they just called me the other day saying, hey, we went to this workshop about such and such. It was really cool. There's so many amazing entrepreneurs such as yourself pushing that envelope and guiding a very important generation into what life looks like. So for listeners who want to see your business in action, drop those links on us. Where should listeners go from here?
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, they can go to the website, Workshops for Retirement, and reach out there. So contact email as well if anyone has any questions. So to me personally, I'm always very open to, like we do now, just talk openly about it, because I think embracing that and doing good things in the world, I think there's a little bit of a lack of that. I think we should embrace more good stuff and sort of foster that. So if I can help anyone else in the industry, or want to bounce something off me, or just want to give feedback, say, hey, Charlie, this I didn't agree with or whatever, let me know. Always happy to listen. And again, being experimental and being open, that's the key.
Yes, I love that attitude. And listeners, if you didn't already know the URL, I'm going to say it one more time, workshopsforretirement.com. You can find that link down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. We're also linking to Charlie's personal LinkedIn. So if you want to reach out to him and connect or collaborate or have a very important conversation, a valuable one, you see how open he is, how brilliant he is, and how committed he is to doing and putting so many good things into the world. So Charlie, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Brian.